and welcome here to MoreTalkFCB, and welcome to more reactions to that defeat to Bayern at the Camp Nou in the Champions League on Tuesday. Obviously for us, it wasn't pretty, but there's now plenty of fallout from that performance, and today we are going to be focusing on Sergi Roberto, his performance, his substitution, the reaction of the crowd towards him, and then his personal reaction when back in the dressing room. It is all coming up! So let's get into it. Because obviously, when you're looking there at the Barça team that faced Bayern, it wasn't an easy game for any of the players who were out there. I think everybody, struggled to sort of contain Bayern in their own individual roles. I think the setup of the team really did limit many of our players, but I think probably one of the ones who was most disappointing out there against Bayern, it would have been Sergi Roberto. Now, obviously, going into the game, we didn't expect too much from him anyway, much like we didn't from the team. But given the fact that Koeman elected to start him there in that right wing-back role, he was actually given throughout the game the most space of anybody. He was actually allowed so much room on that right-hand side there. Alphonso Davies was more focused on going forward. He basically allowed Roberto to have all of that room because he knew that he could deal with him. And he did deal with him absolutely effortlessly. And what I would also say about Roberto is not only did he do nothing going forward, not only was the final ball very, very poor from him, no creativity whatsoever from that wing, but defensively, in terms of helping out there to contain Alphonso Davies and indeed Sane, he did very, very little to help our defence. Now, I've got to be honest and say that actually, I think his substitution took too long. I would have personally thought about subbing Sergi Roberto at half-time, at least about 5 or 10 minutes there into the second half, but it did take until the hour mark there for Ronald Koeman to say, you know what, I've seen enough, I'm going to make a change. And so he brought on Yusuf Demir for Sergi Roberto there. And Yusuf Demir, to his credit, came on and he was very, very good. He got the fans going, he at least tried something. He at least there took a few risks and tried to take the game to Bayern when he was in possession of the ball. But of course, in Sergi Roberto going off and leaving the field, he was greeted by the fans of the Camp Nou with big, big whistles. And I've got to say, that was surprising to me. I was not expecting any player tonight, at least individually, to be whistled. I was sort of concerned maybe that if the result got out of hand, 3-0 defeat, maybe the whole team would be booed or whistled by a stadium. Who, let's not forget, we're not used to losing like this. We're not really used to being in these kind of positions. Although we've had our struggles, it is still something new for us Barcelona fans. But actually, I just want to say, aside from that moment with Roberto, the fans are very, very good. They were actually very much behind the team. They didn't at any point lose that faith. They didn't really lose it with the team. They did stay behind them. And so much so that actually, Ronald Araujo, one of the most impressive players from the game, somebody who did leave it all out there, who did play with his heart on his sleeve, he came out after the game straight away on Instagram and he said, thank you. Thank you for your support. We want to give you more. And he was really, really happy with the way the crowd reacted towards the team. But obviously, when it comes there to Sergi Roberto to be whistled off for a player who spent so many years here, I'm sure it would have been a big shock to him. It was a shock to me. And what's the reaction been now to that? Because immediately after the game, the man to face the media in terms of the players was Gerard Piqué, and he was asked there about the whistles that went in the direction of Sergi Roberto, and Piqué basically said there that it shouldn't happen, that he doesn't like to hear that, of course, about any player, but he said specifically when it comes to Sergi Roberto, he said that really hurt him to hear the whistles there directed at his teammate in that way. And of course, then following the game, we did start to get some reports there about what went on in the dressing room. Of course, that stuff finds its way of getting out into the media, and apparently in the dressing room, after Roberto had received that reaction from the crowd, he was crying in the dressing room there after the game. Now, obviously, I have said on many, many, many occasions, all we want to do as fans is get behind our team. That is basically our point at the end of the day. We all want to go in the same direction. We all want to be very much with our team at all times. But I think when I'm trying here to understand why they whistle Roberto, why the crowd there were against him in that moment, obviously they were frustrated by the game, but I also think they probably would have watched that display out there from Roberto last night, where, like I say, he was one of the worst players. They would have watched that and thought, okay, is this the guy that when he recently received the club's renewal offer so that he wouldn't leave for free at the end of the season, so that he would stay here, when he received that renewal offer there with a 50% cut, which still would have seen him earn over 100,000 euros a week, is this the same guy that sent it back and said, I don't think so. I feel like I'm worth a bit more than that, don't you believe? And I just think the fans out there last night would have thought, really? Is that the same guy? Is that the same guy there who's making demands while playing at this level? And apparently now the club are negotiating with Roberto. It's been going on for quite a long time. Apparently now they're more close to a 35% cut, which if Roberto accepts that renewal offer, it will see him renew here, still earning around €150,000 a week. And it's unbelievable. And that is why certainly you can feel frustration inside the club right now. However, when you do hear reports there about Roberto crying, of course he has been at this club his entire life. I think he's always worked hard to try and make himself available. He's always been willing to play in any sort of position to help the team. And I think the sad part of this for me, looking at the way that this entire situation now is unfolding, the sad part for me is that honestly, he's trying his best. He was actually playing there probably close to his maximum level. And that's literally the worst thing right now. Because that's Roberto. That's who he is. That's the player that he is. Which begs the question, why are we trying to renew him? Why are we actually now going to extend his time at this club? Extend his time on the field? Because like I've said in the past with Umtiti, probably he shouldn't be out there to get whistled. He shouldn't have been in the team yesterday. He is not a player there that's suited to that role. He's not a player there that should be playing against Bayern Munich in a Champions League game because that's the best he can offer. And it's not good enough for this club. He shouldn't be here. We shouldn't renew him. At the end of his time here, we should say, you know what? In this coming summer, thank you for your services. Thank you for your time at the club. Thank you for your dedication. We appreciate what you've given us. But now it's come to an end. We do not need to renew players like Sergi Roberto. It is absolutely pointless. And I'm sure that's what last night the crowd were feeling in those moments of anger. So that right there, guys, is some further reaction to yesterday's defeat and obviously all of the emotion that was involved and wrapped up in that game. And of course, you never want to be against your own players. You never want to whistle, boo. You don't want to hear that from fans inside the stadium. Of course you don't. But the situation we're in right now, it is so complex. There's so many different angles. It's more than just a game. It's more than just what we're seeing out on the field. When you unpack everything that is going on, we need to get this club back on track. We need to be ruthless while doing it. And like I say, thinking about renewing players like Sergi Roberto, about extending this period here of almost mediocrity, it's not acceptable. And it's not a route that we should be going down. Please let me know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. Would you renew Sergi? And what did he make yesterday of that reaction from the crowd? I will see you soon, of course, with more videos to come. But until next time, as always, Visca! El Barça!